Good day, welcome to the channel of SA Accounting Network. Today I want to show you guys how the banking work on Sage. I've done the other two invoices as well, where we've talked about customers and suppliers, and now to do the basic setup on Sage 1. So today it's a turn to have a look at this banking thing over here. So I want you guys to like my channel and subscribe to my channel as well. And then I just want to mention as well that these videos aren't sponsored in any way. So the reason why I'm doing this is purely just to help my clients. Because it's quite often we get these type of queries of how to do certain transactions on Sage. So I just find it easier for me just to load the videos, and then the people can go have a look at this. So if you are looking for accounting services, get in touch with us as well, because we'll definitely be able to assist you with that. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be dividing this video into 3 parts. So I want you to look in the description below at the timestamps, because on the timestamps you'll be able to see on which section of the video I'm actually talking about those different topics. So the first thing that I'm going to be talking about is if you're working with cash. So that is if you're not invoicing clients and not paying suppliers, it's purely the money that you receive from a service. Let's say for instance is straight coming into your account and you're paying the money straight out. So there's no invoicing involved, no suppliers, stuff like that, just straightforward bookkeeping. And that is the first way, or the easy way to do the banking. The second thing we're going to be looking at is when you work with customers. So that's also really important to now to work with banking when it comes to customers. And the third one I'm going to talking about is about suppliers as well. Then other topics that I'm going to touch on quickly that you'll also find down in the timestamps is how to add a bank account. And then we're going to look at the list of different bank accounts. We're going to be talking about bank feeds, which is really important as well to know how that system works, because it just streamlines the whole system quite a bit. And then we're going to have a quick look at bank reconciliations as well. So without further ado, let's sit down to my computer, then I'll show you exactly how this works. So once you've logged into your Sage 1, you're obviously going to find your dashboard over here. So with the banking, you can see over there at the top, is in the middle, you can see the first button that you get is the one that says add a bank or credit card. So if you click on that little button over there, it takes you to this screen. So I'm going to show you guys how to add a bank account. So the first thing is we're going to give it a name. So we're going to call it Standard Bank, and then we're going to say that this account over here is a check account. We're going to just call it, for the purpose of this video, we're also going to call it Standard Bank, and then you can put in an account number if you want to, so that's fine. Branch name, and just the important thing over here is you need to put an opening balance date into your account. So I'm just going to put it the 31st of Jan, and I'm going to say that my bank balance was 5,000 Rand, just for the purpose of this video, just so that you can see where to do the setup. There is another place, if you didn't do it in this process of here to put the opening balance in now, there is another place in Sage as well where you can actually go into add those opening balances. So once I've done that setup over there, I'm going to press the save button, and that is how easy it is to actually add a bank account on Sage. You can see it's really easy. So the next button, once you've got your bank account over there, once you've done the basic setup, you can see there over there you've got the list of all the different bank accounts. So you can see that the company I'm working on at the moment is a demo company. You can see they've loaded a credit card account, a current account, investment account, petty cash, and over there is my standard bank account, the one that we're going to be working with. So then if you go back to banking over there, then you can see the transactions, and then we're going to go to the little banking button over there. So this is where everything is going to be happening inside the bank account. So we are not going to worry about the accounts. We're going to be working with the one that says Standard Bank. So that's the account that I added. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is how to capture transactions manually. Because remember just now I said that there's 3 ways to get the transactions into the bank account. So the first one is if you had to do it manually. Second one is if you download a certain file, which they call an OFX file. And then the third one is when you set up bank feeds. So we'll touch on that just now. So the first one is if you enter transactions manually, you would go to this line over here, and obviously you would start with the date. So you can see the 1st of February 2020, and we're going to say that this was, let's say for instance, a cash deposit that he did, and you're going to say it was Mr. Van der Merwe. Let's say for instance this is the person who made the deposit, and you can see that if you choose your account over here to say from where that money came from, you can see they've got an income account which is consulting revenue. So you're going to choose that account, and you're just going to say deposit, and then you can see over here on the receive side So you can say that you received 1,000 Rand from Mr. van der Merwe, and then if you're doing payments, again you will say, there's maybe say EFT, you're going to say salaries, if you were paying a salary allocated to the salary account, or do they have anything that relates to salaries? Let's have a quick look over here. You see the expenses that they've got. Let's say, for instance, that we are doing a salary payment, but you can see that there's no salary expense over here. Then you can see there's a little button over there. We can actually add an account straight from the banking screen. So we're going to click on that account, that little button. We're going to call this salaries. And in the category, we can note that that is the expense. And that is how easy it is to actually add an account when you're busy in the banking screen. So we're going to say that there was salaries. And again, you just put in your deposit, your transaction over there, and you're going to say that he paid out 500, or let's call it 5,000 Rand, and then you can say save changes. So that is how easy it is to actually load transactions manually. So you just keep on adding the lines as you're carrying on, and it doesn't even matter which bank account you're working in. So even if it's a cash account, petty cash account, anything like that, that is the way that you will be doing that, you see. Let me quickly show you now how to import transactions using an OFX file, and you'll see when you're going to be working with the bank feed, it's a very similar system except for that it's automated, you see. So let me first just take these two transactions off. You see on the left hand side you've got the little thingy where you can select a lot of transactions at the same time, and I'm just going to say delete. Now what it does, then it takes off these transactions off my banking. You can see that we're back with our opening balance there of 5,000 Rand. So then if you're going to be importing transactions, so the first thing that you would need to do is you would need to log into your internet banking, and then you'll see you're going to set up the date ranges for when you're actually looking for the transactions for, and then you can download those transactions. But the type of file that you need to use, there's quite a few different options that you can use, but the easiest one to use is an OFX file. So once you've downloaded that file onto your computer, you save it somewhere inside a folder, and then you're going to select that file and you're going to import that into this program over here. Let me quickly show you. So I'm just going to say that I'm going to browse for the file. I've saved this one that I'm going to be working on the desktop over there. You can see over there it says statements.ofx. Let me see if I can make this a bit smaller. And then we say open, and then from there we're going to import the file. So you can see that it only takes a couple of seconds, and then all the transactions that are downloaded will be in there. So you can see that all the transactions, you see the message over there, it says 66 rows were important, 66 of the transactions are unallocated and need to be reviewed. So now instead of you having to go and sit and capture these transactions manually, it does the import for you automatically. You see them. So over here, that was, let's say for instance, again, it is a client who paid you cash. So then you're just going to go back to consulting revenue. The next one you can see Mr. S.L. Williams. Let's say for instance there was a salary. Then you're going to say that there were salaries. Again, this was a customer who paid. So we're going to go back to consulting revenue. And we put that over there. F-Yost, we know that there was internet expense. Again, if there's no account over there for internet expenses, we're going to press the add new button. And then we're going to say internet expense. And the category again, I'm going to say that that is an expense account, and you're going to press save. And then from there you can see Liberty. We know that that is insurance, so you're going to select, again there's no insurance account, so we're just going to add it quickly just for the sake of making it complete. Insurance, again that is the expense, and then you press save. So you can see you're just going to carry on doing these allocations over here. It's actually quite straightforward. So you only have that one column that you just need to go in and just do those allocations the whole time, you see. So that is if you're working with a cash business, and it's just money in, money out. So there's no things about allocating deposits to customers who haven't paid, or when you're working with the suppliers. But let's drop down to the one for customers, because that is quite an interesting thing. Let's have a quick look on this program over here. I just want to go to my customer report, so I can just get a name over here of somebody who's got an outstanding balance, and I'm going to just run a report over here to say on this specific date what outstanding debtors we've got on this demo company over here. So you can see that they've got let's use Bike Bus. You can see over there this shows that guy owes 500,000 rand. So if I'm on my banking, and there's for instance money that came in, this for instance there's 3,000 rand that came in over there. So instead of saying account over there, you can see that you can actually select it as a customer. Then what you do over there is you choose the customer's name. So you need to say Bike Buzz. And the important thing, when you're working with customers, you see this little fork on the right hand side. It's really important that you click on that button, because what it does, then it opens up a screen where you can see that all the outstanding invoices, because otherwise what will happen if you don't tick that thing in your list of invoices, it will actually show that that invoice is still showing as unpaid, you see. So although the customer paid it, you still need to tell Sage which invoice that payment was for. So let's say for instance we want to say that that payment was part payment of this invoice. As soon as I tick it, then you can see it actually put the amount received over there as 3,000 rand. And that is how you do it. So that's just the important thing. You must always make sure that you tick on that little fork and make sure that you do that allocation right. Otherwise, all your reports are going to be wrong. Then you can see over here, there was another payment. So let's again say that this was a customer payment over here. And then we're going to choose another customer. Let's say for instance, let's just quickly see. I'm going to try and find somebody that's got a negative balance. You see this one that says Alpha Cycling Suppliers. I'm going to go and allocate that payment against them. But now, if you click on that fork, you'll see that there's probably not going to be, there are invoices outstanding for them. So again, we're just going to choose one of those invoices and then we press save. And then that is the way that you will do the allocations for customers. So the next one that we need to have a look at as well is if when you work with suppliers, is how to allocate the supplier payments on Sage. So again, when I just want to just run a report quickly just to see what outstanding suppliers they have on the system. So I'm going to go to reports, supplier balances, days outstanding. And then over here, we just want to have a look and see which reports they have, which outstanding suppliers. So let's say for instance we can say that Eastside Bicycle Suppliers, or let's call it Aerodynamics, and that is the supplier that we're going to make a payment for. So then if let's say for instance this payment over here was for that specific supplier, so on this drop down over here we now have to say that instead of allocating it to an account, we need to say that it's a supplier payment, and the name of that supplier that we were talking about was Aerodynamics. So we're going to, on this list over here, choose his name again, Aerodynamics, and then again that little fork. So that's really, really important. That little fork over there, you're going to click on that transaction and you're going to say that it was a payment for that specific invoice. So that is the way that you're going to be working with paying suppliers. So we must always remember that if customers lose paying, you're going to click that selection there. Suppliers, you're going to click it over there. Something else that you can do is when you're making payments, you see there's a little thing, a little arrow over there, and that is for split transactions. So that would mean that, let's say for instance you're making a payment, but it's for two different types of expenses. So let's say for instance you're doing, for the purpose of the example, a telephone payment, and then together with that you're paying wages as well. Then there's a way that you can actually split up that transaction. So if you click on that little arrow over there, we're going to click on that arrow, then you'll see that it's got an option to click that payment that you made to two different accounts. So I'm just going to find an expense. We're going to say, let's say for instance repairs and maintenance, and we're going to say that for repairs and maintenance we paid 634 rand, and then for salaries, I'm going to say salaries, we paid 1,000 rand. So that is an easy way that you can do to make split transactions up into two different things. The next thing that you need to have a look at as well is if you've got different accounts. You can see over here we looked at the account one, so that's straight where you do the allocations. Next thing is customers, suppliers, and then you can see you've got the transfers account as well. So if I do a transfer from one account over into another account, then you use that little button over there that says transfers, and then now I will select the bank account that I'm doing the transfer to. So I'm going to say current account, and then you can see, so what it does, it actually takes the money out of this account and then it deposits it into the other account. So the only thing that will happen then is if you go look in the other account, the deposit will come in from the bank feed, and then obviously a second time from the transfer that you made as well, you see. So that's important. If the business is registered for VAT and you're making VAT payments, then you'll see on this drop down over here, you can have another button over there that's going to say VAT. So you're just going to choose that, and then after that, you will have the option to allocate it against a certain period, you see. So this little button over here is really important when you're busy working with the banking. Once you've done allocating all the transactions, then you can see you can press Save Changes, and then it does saves all those transactions into the specific areas where it's supposed to happen. Let's just quickly have a quick look at something, just a report, just to show you what happened with the transactions that we allocated now. So if I go to a report and I say that I want to have a look at the profit and loss account, and we just want to have a look at the monthly one in the current month, because we were doing allocations in February, then you'll see the transactions that we were busy with the allocations with is going to pull through onto this report over here. So you can see there's our profit and loss report for February. I'm just waiting for it to load. You can see that there's our salaries payment that we put into there, our repairs and maintenance is over there, and remember we were talking about the insurance. So you can see that the allocations that you do on the banking screen over here, these allocations over here, actually pulls through onto this report over here, so you can see where those allocations are. Let's say, for instance, you look at something like salaries and you realize that, oh dear, you want to have a look and see what's happening inside that account. You can click on the amount, and then you can see that it actually opens up the transaction. So the nice thing about Sage is you actually have the option to go back into those transactions. Then if something is not allocated on the right place, so you can actually reallocate it. So let's say, for instance, we go into the banking and we say that this amount over here wasn't for salaries, but that was maybe for, let's say, for rent. Then you can change that selection over there. Press Save Changes. And then when we go back into our report over here, let me just go back one. Then you'll see that that amount over there, which was 1,600 Rand, is probably going to change now to 1,000 Rand. Then inside our rent account, we're going to see that 600 Rand over there. So you can see over there, rent 600 Rand. You can see over there, salaries is 1,000 Rand. So the banking is actually so easy. It's such a nice system to work with, because once you import the transactions, you only have this one list of transactions or this column that you need to work with, you see. So remember, we talked about the way that you can enter the transactions manually, and the next one that we were talking about is when you import the transactions using OFX file. The third option is when you can set up your bank feeds. So if you go to the banking, you can see there's transactions. Here's one over here that says manage bank feeds. So if you set up the bank feeds, it's actually quite a nice system to use as well. Okay, this is not available in the demo company. But what will happen is you're going to go into that screen. It's normally a 5-step process that you need to go through. So the first thing is, if you go on that screen, you actually have the selection to say which bank you bank with. So whether it's ABSA or FNB, or whichever bank it is. After that, you would need to put your login details over there. And then once you go through that process where it actually logs into the bank account, then you've got the option to link your internet banking account with one of the Sage accounts. So let's say, for instance, we use that Standard Bank one as our demo that we were talking about just now. And we're going to say we can use the Standard Bank account. We're going to link it up with the Sage account, and then once we say import, the next screen after that, you would need to put in the opening balance the same way that we did it over there. And then after, once you've got your opening balance in, then it's going to look exactly the same as what we saw just now when we uploaded that OFX file. So as soon as you go into your banking, then all the transactions are going to be there. So it works exactly the same way. So let's just quickly shoot back to the banking. So once you import the transactions, you're going to end up at exactly the same screen that we were busy working with just now. So I just want to change the selection over there. I'm going to change it back to the Standard Bank account. And you can see over here, we've got all the transactions that we've got over there, you see. So everything is over there. And the next button, if you go to transactions, the next button over there is reconcile bank accounts. So normally if you import transactions, you would normally not have issues with the bank reconciliation. So the only thing that you mustn't do is you mustn't recapture transactions, or sometimes you'll find with the transfers where you transfer money between accounts, that is sometimes where your bank balance will go out, because once you're doing the transfer, it moves the money from one account into the other account, and then the other transaction, which will actually be a duplicate, is from the bank feed itself that it imported over there. So if we say, let's say for instance we want to do the Standard Bank account, then you can see it changes the balance. So we're going to put our bank balance in over there, 0.99, and then we're going to press save. Yeah, and then if the balance is out, you can always go back into this report over here. You'll see that if you go to reports and you say bank and credit card transactions, if you go into the account for the standard bank account that we were working in now, so that account over there, and you say view report, then you'll be able to see exactly the transactions that's inside that bank account over there. So the nice thing of using this report over here is you can actually, on the right hand side, you can see what the balance is. So if you had to look at these balances over here, you can always print out your bank statement and just have a look at that, just to make sure that those balances are exactly the same, you see. And so that is basically the banking, yeah, because we did look at all the things. So the last thing that I want to share quickly as well is if you're making mistakes, we touched on it earlier as well, but you do have the option to delete transactions as well. So like I said, all the transactions that we put in over here was just fictitious transactions, so I just want to just delete them off again. So if you do make a mistake, you can see over there inside the current account, we've got that transfer that we were talking about just now. So if I go back into my standard bank account, I'm going to show you how to just to take the transactions off. If you maybe made a mistake, make the selection over there, say delete, and with that you can say that you want to delete the transactions. Yeah, you want to take all of them off, and that is how easy it is to delete transactions that you captured, except for this one. You see over there the split transaction that we did. So I first need to take these lines off over here, that one over there, save. Okay, it actually wants us to put in the amount of 1634.76, save. Now it still wants an account as well, so we're just going to say that was for insurance. And then now, see on the right hand side there, you've got the option as well to delete transactions. Yeah, and then if you want to delete a bank account, you would go back again to your list of bank and credit card transactions. And then on the right hand side again, under actions, you've got an option there to delete a bank account. You say, are you sure you want to delete a bank account? Standard bank, we say yes. And that is how you delete a bank account. Yeah, so the banking itself, you can see in Sage, is really not that difficult. Like I said, the 3 ways to get the transactions in, to capture them manually, use your bank feeds, or import those OFX files. If you have any other further questions, you can pop it down in the message below. At a later stage, I might even do a follow-up video on this one as well. And then just remember to like my channel as well, subscribe to my channel. And then the next video that I'm going to be doing is on reporting. So yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for watching.